Whatever your religious orientations or backgrounds, I think the story is quite interesting and thought-provoking, and I suppose it will give us quite a lot of food for thought. So I hope you will enjoy discussing this story today. And we have two presenters today, Conan and Adrian. I don't know what happened to the rest of the members in the group, but that's their problem, not mine. And of course, not Conan or Adrian's. So, okay, now I think I would handle the responsibility to you. So can you start your presentation?
The story we're going to present today is The Hint of an Explanation by Graham Greene. Yeah, and my name is Adrian. And he's Connor. And yeah, we also didn't know where the rest of our members go. So I just okay. So let's begin. So on the introduction of this short story, the story was first published in 1948, and it is included in the author's short story collection called 21 Stories. And the whole story is about a conversation between the narrator and a fellow traveler on a train. And this story is a very very presents very well on the theme of about temptation, salvation, and the nature of evil in the field of religious, especially Catholic, because this author is also Catholic. And today's presentation will include the author introduction, plot summary, and discussion questions, and the last is our reflection. Okay, so the first is about the author. This author is called Henry Graham Greene. He's born in 1904 and died in 1991. He was an English writer, journalist, and novelist. And the author was baptized and entered the religions of Catholic in 1946 because he met his Catholic wife. And the theme about his work is really about religious, detective, and psychology, and these kind of things. And something which is special about him is that he was shortlisted for the Nobel Prize in Literature for 21 times for his whole life, but never awarded. That sounds quite awkward to me. But he still but he still awarded a few awards, including Shakespeare's Prize, Jerusalem Prize, and he even awarded Britain's Order of Merit by the Elizabeth II, and he was honored to be the greatest writer in the 20th century.
Well, well, are you sure he was the greatest writer in the 20th century? That's your opinion? Greatest writer?
Wait. Maybe there's other Greek writers in the same time, that's all I was know. He was also the writers novelists in the writers and novelists just in the same time with him has a great had a great accomplishment to him.
Okay. So I suppose the greatest writer would be a little bit an exaggeration, unless you are unless you really believe that he is the greatest writer. But definitely, it is the case that he is one of the representative writers in the 20th century English literature. That's for sure. And in what way do you think that he's regarded as one of the most brilliant writers in the 20th century? What is the sort of his kind of strengths, at least as far as sort of reputation or literary evaluation goes?
Although he didn't won the Nobel Prize in Literature, but he was shortlisted for 21 times. That's not easy.
Yeah. I mean, but why is he evaluated so highly to the extent that he was sort of nominated for the Nobel Prize for as many as 21 times? What is his strengths? Or why do you think that he's really great?
Really great.
I think the one sort of at least factor that made his work really famous is his exploration of some religious ideas, and this is actually applicable to today's stories as well. And of course, even if you are a kind of religious believer, sometimes you will come across difficult situations in which you might find it really difficult to hold on to your religious beliefs, because in a sense the world seems to go really against religious beliefs and so forth. And this is at least one of the great strengths that a lot of readers find in Graham Greene's works. He really thinks about the kind of the conflict between good and evil, or right and wrong. And he really explored these themes particularly in his novels, and that really made him famous. And also detective, detective story. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. And funnily enough, Graham Greene himself didn't like to be regarded as a writer who explores religious themes that made him famous. And he thought that he could actually explore other things, or he could try other genres. And that's why he sort of touched upon sort of detective stories and rather popular genres of writing as well. And if you really like watching films, there is a classic film called The Feldman, white and black and white film, and which was one of the really regarded one of the greatest films in the 20th century. And Graham Greene wrote its screenplay. So he was also sort of trying to these other genres of writing, but I think nowadays people remember him mainly through his exploration of religious themes. All right. Then let's move on.
Okay, and on our introduce the book summary.
Okay, so I'll be talking about the plot summary. So the story here, bit of an explanation. It starts with the narrator traveling alongside this man named David. They talked about quite a lot of things, from bread to weather to politics, foreign affairs, and Vietnamese bombs. So you can tell that him and David got along quite well. They eventually got to the topic of God, and this is where the views differed. The narrator was more agnostic towards God, and he asked David for his take on this. So David decided to share his childhood experience, which he believes can answer the narrator's question and his take on God. The story that David shares is about how he resisted the temptations from a man who was trying to have David go against David's own religious values.
Okay. That's I think enough for the summary. How does the story end?
The story ends with I'll say it's more so David kind of gets his hint, like his own interpretation of the thing of God, but let's say the writer, David never really directly answers what the narrator's question was. He kind of leaves his own, gives you space for your own interpretation of it. And that's how I see it. So he doesn't really say what the hint is, specify what it is.
But I think my question is much simpler. So the story starts with the scene where the narrator travels with, they shared a train compartment with David, right? And then when the topic sort of eventually they started discussing God, and then David sort of starts to talk about his childhood experience, and then how does the story end?
Yeah, David, and the justice is close when he's about to get off the train, and the narrator sees that that's priest, right? Yeah, I think it's priest.
Yeah, because he's a Catholic. So yes, at the very end of the story, he realizes that David is a Catholic priest, and that's how the story ends. Okay, and I think this is related to the question that we would explore later. Okay, before going into the sort of story analysis, is there any question about the story from you, either in terms of English or in terms of sort of cultural or historical background? Okay. 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 Then, because there is no question, I think we can move on to the analysis. So let's move on.
So, okay, now we arrive at the discussion question. So the first one is the symbolic significance of Mass for Catholics.
So the Mass, the origin is from the Last Supper. It is this kind of Catholic religious practice in which followers they gather and pray. And the kind of the whole reason they do this is that they gotta memorialize Jesus' sacrifice on behalf of mankind. So like the wafer and the wine is symbolic of Jesus' flesh and his blood, which is basically like all the torture and hardship they went through. And by eating the wafer, which represents Jesus' flesh, like taking on his grace and his teachings, and the wine, same thing, Jesus' blood. You take in his grace and teaching, and it's now your job to bring it out to the world, to practice his teachings and bring good to the world. Kind of like basically how it is.
Okay, stop. Could you go back? So, any questions from you? Or anything you want to add from your own experience? Memorize Jesus' sacrifice and consume his flesh and blood. Of course, consume in a symbolic sense. But why is this symbolic consumption of his flesh and blood important for Catholics?
So what's this called? The soul of Jesus flesh and blood. Yes, because if you have heard of the Holy Bible and you know that after the Last Supper and Jesus was Jesus was crucified and crucified and before before Jesus died, he even know that he even knew that it was Judah that leads where he adds to the Roman Empire. Roman Empire. But Jesus chose to forgive Judah and all the human for their he took all the humans sin on his own, and he just go die. And so the Catholics in order
I think in order to sort of memorize Jesus' sacrifice, I think that you explain pretty well. Okay, this is actually the origin is from Last Supper, and it's a sort of commemoration of Jesus' sacrifice. But why is the sort of symbolic consumption of his flesh and blood important?
You're taking on his grace by consuming his blood and flesh, or like taking on his grace and acknowledging the hardship they went through.
did the same thing that Jesus did during the Last Supper.
Okay, so any questions from you from the floor? Or is there anything you want to add? Does that make sense to you? Or it doesn't? Hello? I'm asking you. I'm asking you. Okay.
I mean, I guess I'll just add on. I'm actually a Catholic, so to add to your answer.
No, it's very good. Yeah.
No. Everything you guys are saying is correct. It's just, when you ask like why do we consume flesh and blood, the answer's right there. Yes, the Last Supper. During the Last Supper, they broke bread, and they also shared wine together, and that was basically like the first mass, and that's what we do. Me as a Catholic right now, I don't go to church a lot as I did when I was back home, but I still keep my prayers to myself. Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, thanks for adding very nice, I think important information. Or any questions, any further questions or comments? Because I think this is very, very important to understand the story. So can we move on? Okay, then let's move on then.
The next topic we'll be talking about is the narrator's conflict about God. So, as we know, the narrator is agnostic. This takes if God, as an entity, if he does exist as this omnipotent person, entities, and how could he endure the corruption of his creations in his formally created? So, the narrator's complaint is basically, why would God give everyone free will, give all his creators free will, and have them just go rampant, be evil and stuff? Like, if God's is so powerful, why did he just let this stuff happen?
So I have something to ask here. So we just mentioned the narrator as well as the author was an agnostic, and probably there's some classmates would be curious about what is agnostic. So So it is, you can imagine it is, the agnostic, it is, it is between the religious people and the atheists who are atheists, who don't believe God exists. The people who was agnostic believes that God did exist, but we're just human after all. We have no such you know, we have no such big brain or that power to know that if God works or not. Like it is, they believe that God exists, but it is unknowable.
That's something that we can understand as humans.
Yeah, they believe that we couldn't understand God as humans. Because as a human, what we know is limited. So that is what that is our explanation about agnostic. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, again, this is very important to follow the following explanation. So, did you get it? Did you get it? Sort of the position or the idea of agnosticism. Is that okay? Hmm. Okay. And then yeah. So this is the sort of yeah, not really quite sure whether complaint is the right word or not, although that's the word that I chose for the question that I set up. So so this is one of sort of his question or complaint about the God. And Kona, you mentioned in your explanation you mentioned free will, right? Humans free will. And if you read the textbook, this appears on the page 177 and on the fourth line from the top. The free will is written with capital letter, right? Free will. And how is it free will related to sort of the narrator's agnostic position?
So, do you mean God's free will or people's free will? Humans.
Which one do you think?
I believe it's there. So, I think the narrator's take my own interpretation on this is that he doesn't understand why God gave us free will. Why doesn't he just control everything? Why God use it like create everything? I'll be talking about this on my later reflection on why I think he gave him free will. But so what I think is God, the narrator doesn't understand why God gave us free will if he wants us to do
Well, when we talk about free will, normally it's a good thing, right? In most of the contexts, the very fact that we have free will, that's a kind of positive value. But for the narrator, this is a source of, complaint. Why?
But he mentioned that children get corrupted and people get evil. He told me I think he just doesn't like seeing kids get corrupted in a sense, and God's not doing anything about it. That free will leads to bad things, and the narrator is focusing on the bad things that it causes and other things do. the results of free will, the negatives of free will.
Okay. Well, anything you want to add on, or more questions about the issue of free will and agnostic sort of position of the narrator?
What constitutes free will? What is free will? Is it the ability to choose, or what?
Yeah, the ability to determine your own outcome. Like intelligence, in the sense, gives you free will. Like you gotta be intelligent to choose what you want, not just follow instinct. Like what kind of creations of God, like animals do.
Okay.
Right. Any other questions or thoughts? Yeah, we are sort of getting into the very, very difficult territory of sort of religious ideas.
So about the free will, so I come up with a theory that describes our world. The theory describes our world as a watch that God created this world, just as a watchmaker making a watch that he just creates he just puts everything that makes a watch work in it, and after he makes this watch, and he just leave it there, leave the watch there, and let the watch just work by itself. So maybe so when it comes to free will, and I'll think about maybe that it is when it comes to free will, maybe it is maybe sorry I'll think that maybe God creates this world, and he just give this world a chance to get this world to work by itself. So that is the theory about the watchmaker and watch.
Okay. Yeah. So I think one of the even if you are not deeply religious, or even if you are not a Catholic, or yeah, this is a very, very old debate about the sort of the nature of God, right? Okay, so we human beings are God's creations, and but in this world, we human beings often do something stupid, right? We often skip classes, or don't listen to lectures. I, as a teacher, sometimes don't do my best to prepare for the class. And yeah, this is based on my free will, my free choice. And yeah, I do classes badly, and you don't listen to that class too well. So it's sort of, yeah, we live in a kind of corrupted world. And in a sense, we corrupt ourselves with our own free choice. Right? Then why does God allow such things to happen? if God is omniscient, omnipotent, and we are God's creatures, why do we sort of corrupt ourselves or our world, based on our own free will, right? And this is a very, very old and very, very difficult question that religions really try to tackle. And not only, I think, Christianity, but also, other religions try to tackle. And this is the kind of question that the narrator, raises to David, who is by this time we know that the narrator knows that he is a Catholic, right? Okay, so this is the kind of question that comes up during their conversation, and let's move on.
Third discussion, third topic would be about the Blackbird's motive. Why entice David to bring the waiter to it? What symbolic meaning does it have? So, my own theory on this is that I believe that Blackbird, he held a personal grudge towards a religious folk. Right? We don't know about his backstory, his lore, that kind of stuff. And he probably wanted to prove that followers of Christ can be easily manipulated. Like, this is all my own take on this, but this wasn't really, looked into. Symbolic meaning. This reminds me of tales of how devils tempt mortals to sin and violate the teachings of the church. And the devil in this story is obviously Blackbird, or the devil is working through Blackbird.
Okay. Where does your sort of interpretation on a symbolic level come from?
Numerous folk tales and stuff heard over the years. Like about how devils will work through common folk and try to tempt them to lure the religious to sin and violate Catholic teachings.
Yeah, but that there are many tales. But how about this? How about this episode that David talks about? Obviously, you sort of jumped from here to here in order to sort of pick up some symbolic meaning. But how did your brain work? How did your sort of brain work from here to here?
Like you can kind of tell that for certain parts of the story, Blackbird he picks on David and his father, like he said, he doesn't like his father. So he personally was distasteful towards his father and stuff. So but what I read was basically David did talk about that his father was a banker and maybe there's unhappy exchanges and stuff. So maybe that could be the reason why he targeted David specifically. But maybe because the old town was against the Catholic people that was mentioned in the beginning of the story. So maybe he wanted to also prove, smear the Catholic people, saying, "Oh, look, I'm able to easily manipulate one of your kids," that kind of stuff.
Still, I'm not. Yeah. I mean, I think that makes sense. But how then does it lead to the kind of symbolic meaning that you mentioned in the last two parts? Right? Anything from the audience, from the classroom?
think he asked you to leave?
I think that was kind of like this, like kind of this shitting on Jesus. Like he's kind of just doubting, like this kind of like, because like it represents the hardships that Jesus went through, and was able to just kill it easily like that, like kind of like an in-your-face moment, you know, in other sense. Formal, like kind of just proving Jesus wrong, like downplaying his sacrifices and hardships.
They see you can see it as a challenge or humiliation
Yeah, I mean, humiliation.
because you know the blacker will because you know because in the story the blacker the maker will look down on those Catholics, including David as the main character in the story. I'm pretty sure that he said that he wondered what Jesus is like. It's not about curiosity.
And going into disrespect and Catholics and what they hold to the hearts the most valuable, like what they value the most. Like if he's able to get his hands on that, he can obviously like really mess with them and kind of in that way, like just downplay their beliefs.
Is there any other thoughts? Any other questions or comments on this? Yeah, I think about the sort of symbolic meaning that I asked you to sort of explain. It's also, I think, related to the symbolic significance of the wafer. Because, yeah, as you explained at the very beginning, this is the very, very important part of the Mass of Catholics, precisely because the wafer represents, Jesus' flesh. And, to have this ceremony is to confirm the connection or even the unity with Jesus Christ, right? But Blacker says, give that to me. That means almost sort of, yes, it's a sort of temptation presented to David to go against religious rules. And this is a really, really one of the most fundamental religious rules that the sort of Catholic sort of church has established, the teachings and the practice of the church. And that's why it has sort of symbolic resonance, right? And as far as my limited understanding goes, only Catholics could have this consecrated wafer. Alright, so even if you are not Catholics, you can sort of observe the Mass, just like Blaka did. But the only one who can actually have the consecrated wafer is Catholic only. And that's why it has the kind of connotation of sort of temptation, right? Because it's, in exchange for these trade models, why don't you do this for me? That's sort of the Blocker's proposal. And Blocker almost sort of tries to derail David from the teaching and the practice of the Catholic Church. So it's sort of violation of something very, very sacred, right? And when it comes to symbolic meanings, what do you think about the name Waka?
Something lacquer.
Ah,
Because the name, the author named lacquer.
yeah.
At first, I thought Graham Greene, the author, was racist.
It's racist. Oh, but it has nothing to do with race, right?
I'd say he's probably like a representation of like a man trying to smear this holy ritual, some holy values. He's trying to smear it, so he's like lacquer and then kind of smear over it, something like that.
Yeah, and of course, in a kind of symbolic level, I mean, black often connotes evilness, right? And blacker with comparative form. So this is not the simply bad or simply evil. It's more than that, and that sort of resonates with the motif of devil that you rightly picked up. Okay, so who is really worse, other than ordinary human beings? Yeah, devils, right? So that's where some symbolic meaning is generated. Okay, now I think we are 1 minute before the break, so we will have 10 minutes break, and after that we will listen to the remaining of the presentation. So let's have a break here. While you are recording yourself and taking a break, who are the presenters for the next week? How's your preparation?
We haven't started.
You haven't studied.
No, but it's like we have like we're gonna do the summary, like the plot and then the analysis, right? So that's how
Yeah, they just work on the questions and so on. Yeah. So when will you get ready?
Probably this week.
Yeah, we're ready before Monday.
Yeah, but that's a little bit too dangerous. So show it to me by Friday noon.
Friday noon. Okay.
Send it to me, and I will take a look, and I will give you some feedback, and ask you to revise some parts which might which might make it difficult for your classmates to follow. So yeah, by Friday noon.
Sure. Send it to you by MS Teams or
Give me my email.
You don't have to make language.
Presenters for week 7. Week 7, presenters on week 7, 2 weeks later. And then now the questions are already on the iPads, so please start your preparation.
Next. Is it already?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so maybe okay, so which is so we need to start working.
Yeah. I have to read the story. I have to find the story. I don't even know where it is.
Maybe
Find it in the book. It sucks. I just want to like have my fucking control.
it's just good fun to take some photos.
Did you say which book?
Penguin Random.
They should have it in.
I don't know where.
Yeah, it's like I've never like searched a book in the library, like a specific one, so I don't know.
Is it like the third floor or something? I don't know. I'll ask you. I don't want to go to the lab.
I'm not trying to.
We're gonna spend like 1 hour.
Okay, then we will restart the presentation. We'll go back to the presentation, but has everyone recorded themselves to my class? Can I just turn it off? Okay, then Adrian and Glenn, would you start your presentation?
So another question, what did David mean by, when I think of it now, it's almost as if I had seen that thing before it's inevitable to be.
To remind you, this quote appears on the last page on page 186. And yeah, question is, yeah, what does this mean? Adrian?
What does it mean? So, in my opinion, because at first they think maybe David was a little bit afraid of Blacker because David knew that Blacker bullied the Catholic head, and Blacker was a grown man, is a dog, and they were scared of that if he didn't obey Blacker's, he didn't accept Blacker's demand or order, he was going to be purged by Blacker, which is an adult, but when David and Blacker went to the church to steal the wafer, at the moment they got the wafer, and Blacker said that give me that wafer, give me your wafer. And just as you know, there's a voice in David's mind that says don't, and David just realized, oh yeah, I can't give wafer to a person who was not Catholic and even wants to humiliate my Jesus. This is the first time David tried to defend himself by eating the wafer. But and after that, Blacker didn't hurt him, and instead he a grown ass man just cried and run away. So after the story, David realized that maybe Blacker, as well as the evil in his mind, was not that undefeatable, because God will always give him the hint. It was not that scary for those evil idea, as well as we choose to do great, to do good things, and God will lead you to. There's some voice. Yeah, I don't know. I just heard something. Maybe Scotch. Maybe Scotch.
Okay, then